So here we are asked to find the limit of f of x plus g of x as x goes to -3 from the right-hand side. So by our limit law, we can use the sum rule to split this up into two separate limits. So this is the limit as x goes to -3 from the right of f of x plus the limit as x goes to -3 from the right of g of x. Now, to evaluate this limit, the limit of f of x as x goes to -3, we have to use the given graphs that we have in our textbook here. So if you look, they have the f of x function given us here as follows, and we are looking at -3. So if you notice, each tick mark represents 2 units, so -3 will be sandwiched in here between -2 and -4. Now, we are only concerned about from the right. So that means we cover the opposite side, we cover to the left of -3, and we are marching in towards -3. So if I look here, as I march in on the x-axis towards -3, the function values are going down towards this point right here. And if I go over to the y-axis, we see that that y value is -2. So the limit for the f of x function as we go in towards -3 from the right is -2. Now we have to do the same thing for the g of x graph, which our textbook very nicely gives us the g of x graph here. We're looking at -3. We're coming in from the right, so that means we cover the left-hand side of the graph at -3. And if I come in towards -3, my function values are marching up towards this point, and that point corresponds to +2. So the arrow on the function is pointing towards a +2 value, so the limit of g of x would be +2. So we have -2 plus 2, so that tells us that this limit of the sum of f plus g will be equal to -2. And you could do something very similar for question number 119 as well. In that case, they have, and let's just go ahead and quickly do that, they have the limit as x goes to -3 from the left of f of x minus 3g of x. And by our limit law, what we could do is we could split this up into the limit as x goes to -3 from the left of f minus the 3 could come out in front as a constant limit as x goes to -3 from the left of g of x. And then we have to find these respective limits for f and g. Now, here we're looking at from the left, so that means that I would cover up the right-hand side, and when I cover up the right-hand side on my f of x graph, I see that it's going down towards the x-axis, and the x-axis has a y-coordinate of 0. So that tells us that the limit of f of x as x goes to -3 from the left is 0. Now, if I look at the g of x function, again covering up the right-hand side, we see that our function values are pointing down towards this point. Again, I go to the edge of the piece of paper, and that corresponds to -2. So the limit for the g of x would be -2. Now it still has this -3 here, so we have 0 minus 3 times -2, and that evaluates to a +6 for our limit.